as CSMs, right? If you're doing it for yourself and fulfilling on for your clients, the biggest mindset shift I had personally this past weekend, run your CSM team like yourself as a sales team. That's the only reason why Cole's been able to last so long, because he has that strong back end and he treats his CSM team like a sales team so they can add more profitability to their clients. Just so you guys know, I got about 53 minutes. And I figured the best way to use this call would be to give you guys some of the notes from Boardroom, my top takeaways. I'm going to try to make it as succinct as possible, but I'm going to start with the first day. Okay. So the way his mastermind works is like, he's got like 300 plus people in this mastermind. It's pretty nuts. I think the price to join now is like close to 70 grand for the year, maybe more. I could be wrong. So it's pretty high ticket, obviously. But the cool part about that is obviously once you pay that kind of money, you're around those kind of people. So we'll start with the Q&A for VIP day. So let me share my screen and you guys can see this. The VIP day. So basically it was a Q&A, right? And so the very first topic was ads. All right. So the first thing he opened up with is like June typically tends to be, and this is what he said. And I don't really know if I agree with this completely, or at least I don't know if I necessarily want to agree with this completely, to even like put this sort of into my head. But from what he was saying across the industry, meaning like across the mastermind clients and the STA clients he has, that June has typically tended to be, at least this month, a slower month for the industry as a whole. So I don't know if you guys have felt that way. I don't know if you guys have seen that maybe with yourself or maybe even your own clients, but that's one thing that was a big like topic of discussion. Like people were always asking questions about ads. My ads are, suffering from lower lead quality, profitability. Clients are just having these different types of objections. And so long story short, they're experiencing it at a high level, and they spend about 11 grand a day on ads, right, for STA, which is his offer. And so June apparently tends to be a slower month for the industry as a whole. I've personally never heard this. I've really never experienced this, but that's obviously what he was talking about. Now, with that, okay, the only way to really counter that is especially what's happening right now in the market. I posted this on my story this past week on Instagram. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but I posted a story asking a poll to my audience, asking if they would even click on this ad. So the ad was a very simple, like direct ad. It was like coaches and course creators, basically like a typical direct ad that Cole Gordon, basically started, but it was from this guy that was installing like an Instagram AI funnel or something like that. And it was just so much noise that like I instantly clicked off of it. But then I was like, well, I wonder if people are actually still clicking on this kind of stuff, because I know for me, I'm not clicking on that kind of ad anymore. And so the ad was very direct. It was very much like, coaches and course creators, right? We guarantee, 4 to 7 new clients each week using X, Y, and Z, or you don't pay, right? And so everyone and their mom right now who runs a business is using this direct ad framework. I don't know if you guys know the guy who, runs the or got famous for running the Fire Festival guy. This guy, Billy. I posted this on my story as well. This guy, if you've seen this documentary, has anyone not seen this documentary, by the way? Fire Festival? Put yes or no in the chat.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Hey, you've seen it? Okay, Sam, you've seen it. Brandon, have you seen it by chance? Fire Festival?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so here's where you know that the market is getting saturated, when this guy who went to prison and then now is out of prison and he's trying to make a comeback is running the direct ad framework. I swear to God, like if I go to Facebook ads library and I'll find this real quick, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I believe his name is Billy McFarlane. Oh, he's not running it anymore. When he was running it, it was literally e-commerce brands. I'll grow your brand and make you go viral, or you don't pay. Like it was just like very direct, very much noise, like same thing as everybody else, basically offering the same exact thing. And so, which means now that obviously you have to be really good at ads to make your campaigns profitable. And you have to have a strong backend with high LTV. So this is where the direct versus indirect comes in. So what is everyone doing right now? Okay, everyone is doing this. We guarantee this with this unique mechanism, or risk reversal. Okay, or you don't pay, or your money back, or we'll wire you 5K for wasting your time, right? Like very much direct. Okay. And so again, this means that nowadays you have to be really good at ads to make your campaigns profitable, and have a strong backend with a high LTV. And so an easy way to make your ads better is actually what is called using indirect ads, at least in the beginning. Okay, so for example, one of our best ads right now that's running for our company is, it starts off with like David Ogilvy, right? I'll play it actually for you guys so you can see a visual of this versus just me saying it. David Ogilvy, otherwise known as the GOAT of advertising. His multi-million-dollar campaigns convert decades after their creation. And this is key, decades after their creation, because if you run ads anywhere, you should focus on one thing: creating, launching, and scaling ads that live longer, fatigue slower, and convert faster. Something you can discover how to do too. And once you do, you'll have more leads, calls, and sales, allowing you to run your business with ads being in your complete and total control. You can see it's a very indirect ad. It's not like, hey, specific audience, here's the promise, here's the unique mechanism, we're going to give you that promise, here's the risk reversal if you don't achieve that promise with that unique mechanism for you specifically, right? So it's a very indirect style ad. It's using a well-known figure in the space that most marketers know and trust, David Ogilvy, and we're using his credibility to get the market to be interested in something that, okay, I know who this guy is. What is this offer about? Now, the problem with that is I wasn't as direct after the headline, after the hook. And so what Cole was saying is working for him right now really well is leading with an indirect ad, okay, in the beginning, indirect hook, and then going into a direct offer. So for example, if I'm going to film this ad again, which I am, it's going to be the same hook, right? So the same hook at the very beginning. David Ogilvy, otherwise known as the GOAT of advertising. His multi-million-dollar campaigns convert decades after their creation. And this is key, decades after their creation, because and then I can obviously go into, and if you're a coach, course creator, or agency owner, and you want to learn how to create great ads that last years without fatiguing, dying, or losing lead quality, then this offer is for you. My team and I, boom, boom, boom. Then I go direct, right? So I lead with an indirect hook, and then I get them with a direct offer after the indirect hook. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it's like you're almost watching a YouTube video. Like it's not even an ad up front, so you want to keep on listening, I imagine.
Exactly, right? Because what's everyone doing right now? They're leading with a direct offer. So if you lead with an indirect hook, which is exactly like kind of what you said, it's almost like a YouTube organic video popping up as an ad. It's like, okay, what is this? This is intriguing. And then it's like, okay, well, now I can go direct and then go after my target audience once I've gotten their attention. And so that's a huge, huge pivot that Cole and his team are doing right now. And they're testing a bunch of ads, which I can talk about in a second. But this is an easy way for you guys to start thinking about, okay, for my clients or for my offer, what is the current ad that's working best, right? So for us, we have direct and we have this indirect. Well, if you combine those two together, that's an easy way for you to separate yourself in the marketplace, overcome the noisy, crowded marketplace, and then ultimately be able to still have the best of both worlds. Still be direct with the offer and who you want to talk to, but also get the attention of the majority of the market. All right. And so there's a few examples he gave in there as well, but this is probably the one that I wrote down that made the most sense to give you guys an easy, understanding of what I would do if I was you. And so I'm actually testing that. I'm going to be obviously, my team's obviously editing it right now, but ultimately we're going to be testing that and obviously leading with that moving forward, which kind of makes sense. It's like, when everyone's going right, you go left, right? Like when I saw that Billy McFarland guy doing that, I was like, okay, this is just getting out of control. Everyone's doing this. Like, and people replied to my story too on Instagram. They were like, nah, dude, like I would never click on it because it's just noise at this point. And so clearly the market wants better, more unique, more creative, but it doesn't mean go straight like, what we did here where it's like, are all your eggs in the Facebook basket? Like this one's like almost good for branding, but it's not direct enough to get conversions. People like it, but it doesn't really convert into like clients, but it's great for like awareness and for branding. And so if I was to do this one again, I would lead with this hook or all your eggs in the Facebook basket, blah, 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 and then talk about how we can help them get up and running on YouTube, direct offer. And so I would think about that for you guys, especially as, maybe you've already launched your YouTube ads or you're about to launch your YouTube ads. You're going to need to create more ads anyways. Like this is never going to stop, right? You've just seen my YouTube channel behind the scenes. I can go to my playlist right here. If I go to playlist and go to YouTube ads, for us real quick that I think is private actually. Right here, yeah, 56 ads, right? And this is just for the one hybrid offer. We've tested 56 ads in the last, 6 months, right? So this is never going to stop if you want to continue scaling your business. And so that's an easy way for you guys to overcome the noisy marketplace is indirect hook. And so, for example, if you're running a Facebook ad, right? If you're running a Facebook ad, it would be an indirect, like first 2 or 3 lines, and then direct in the like actual like body copy. Okay. So any questions on that? Because that was a big takeaway for him that's working right now that he shared with us in the VIP day.
Yeah, I love that. When you come to the direct offer, would you still put the guarantee that's like similar to everyone else? Or
Yep.
would you change? Just still go for the whole direct offer anyway.
Yeah, you just rearrange the order of it. It's basically like indirect hook, direct offer with the guarantee, and then the story. And by the way, my name's Sam Rapani. I've helped over hundreds of real estate agents in Malta, blah, 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 blah,
Cool. For me, what I realized I was doing like last week I ran a new funnel, which is like a group funnel, which is like giving away the exact ads we use to generate to sell over 300 million worth of property. Right. I saw that doing really well with regards to like engagement, people signing up, but I was pushing them towards like a school group community. But I think if I can change that to be the same thing, but like having the office still in it, I think it can work really well.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're 100% spot on, because when I heard this too, I was like, okay, this is how we can do it, right? We can lead with what we were doing before, which is indirect, add the direct offer into it, and as a result, we create a better ad that's more engaging on the front end, attracts a way wider audience, but then disqualifies them with the directness inside the body copy.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I want to get that done this weekend.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like I got inspired right away. I started writing more ads. So the next thing is, it was kind of an interesting question. So this guy that was in the room, he's an agency owner, and he's working with businesses that are doing 100 million a year plus. Like he's targeting 100 million a year plus e-com businesses that sell like D2C products and goods. And he said he can go as low as like $50 million a year. Now, my question for you guys is, this guy who wants to target $100 million a year plus e-com businesses that sells D2C products, and he can go as low as working with businesses that make $50 million a year. Like, what should he do? Like, should he run ads?
No, it doesn't make sense to run in here. How is he going to find someone who's making? It's going to be like there's like how many a handful of people holding 100 million.
Yeah, exactly, right. And this is
Like
where
the same analogy. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, this is where most people go wrong, right? Like you know, and it's not their fault, but the reality of that is of that working is it's just not going to work. And so what Cole said and what I was literally thinking in my head as he was saying this was the same exact thing. He should do like he's going to have to rely on word of mouth, unfortunately, referrals, unfortunately, brand, and then cold email. Like those are going to be his top 4 things, and then maybe even like like LinkedIn, right? Like LinkedIn would be another one. LinkedIn outreach would be another one. But like there's no place for him to run ads because, like you said, Sam, there's just no way he's going to be able to get in front of $100 million a year plus e-com businesses. Like
Same thing with me, but my agency is the exact same thing. So we're targeting property developers who are building high-rise developments in cities. Like, there's no chance I'm going to get someone to go through a funnel of me who's like a CEO or property manager, sales manager of these massive corporations. So, like, from my point of view, I did a cold email outreach to Damak, which is like one of the biggest property development companies in Dubai, and they actually responded to one of my outreaches. So
yeah.
you have like a good offer, but if you have like the proof in the email, then I think that's the best approach. It's going to be really hard for you to find anyone.
100%. And so for him, he's going to have to rely on word of mouth referrals and brand, which is obviously what you want to do anyways. You get good results for clients. They refer you to more clients. You build a strong brand and people hear about you through word of mouth. Now, on top of that, to supplement and get more potential calls and clients, cold email, LinkedIn outreach, et cetera. Those are going to be his best sources. Unless, of course, the only way he can scale with ads is to offer a wider market for his current offer, right? Going after e-commerce businesses that are doing way less revenue, maybe 7 figures in revenue, or maybe, 6 figures in revenue. But of course, if he doesn't want to work with those types of businesses because number one, they don't have their product dialed in, they don't have their fulfillment dialed in, they don't have their, sales process dialed in, it's going to be a lot of upfront work. So that's why he's going for these people because they know, or he knows they're just easier to scale, but there's just way less of them. And so he's going to have to approach it completely differently, right? And so this leads me to the next point, right? Because June apparently tends to be a typical slower month for the industry as a whole. And because ads are getting way harder and way more sophisticated, right? The only way you're going to be able to truly scale your ads moving forward, especially as the marketplace keeps getting more sophisticated and it becomes easier for anybody and everybody to run ads, the only way you're going to be able to truly scale is by adding in backend, right? Backend offer, right? So I know, Brandon, you and I talked about this before, right? But the backend offer is going to be key. So for example, right, like Cole's CSM team, and this is one of my biggest takeaways from the entire event, is Cole and his team run their CSM team like a sales team. Okay. Their CSM team is incentivized based on cash collected. And what do the CSMs do? A client success manager. Okay. A client success manager is responsible for keeping clients happy, getting clients results, and upselling clients onto back end offers, right? In this case, it's 8-figure boardroom, which is, 70K or whatever the case may be. And so they're running their team with projections, with, referrals, testimonials, and it's basically like a sales team. And so nowadays, right, if you don't have a strong backend or a sticky backend and a continuity, it's going to be hard for you to actually scale because you don't have an LTV that you can measure how much you can afford to spend for one client. Right? So for example, Cole's LTV is probably like at least almost like 75, almost 80K per client, like, or let's just say it's 60K to be safe, right? He can spend, 15K to acquire one client and still be in the green. Most people can't do that. That's exactly why he's doing, 30 million plus per year right now, because he's able to afford that client and outspend the competition. And so one thing that I took away as well is when you're doing the back end offer, back end calls, right? The back end calls of like, okay, let's say someone, for example, graduates from the hybrid, right, in our program, right? Well, typically what everyone does is they have like a next steps call or strategic call or whatever you want to call it. That's like an upsell call, right? But the problem and the mistake they make is they have their, CSMs do it before they've even done it themselves. And so what he recommended is the back end calls need to be done by one person, okay? And you don't want to call it, next steps call or
You just happened to me now. I just coming off call. I was in call Gordon's program. On Friday, I had a call for me to get off the program, and it
yeah.
literally the end of the call was literally a sales call. It's like, listen, I want you to hear the boardroom mastermind next year. I'm gonna help you do it. You should stay on for the 3 months. I'm gonna train your team. I'm gonna train your setters. And I'm like it's another 15K for 3 months. Like it was literally turned into an actual sales call at the end of like the onboard, like the offboarding call.
Yeah. So they actually did that to you.
Yeah, literally on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was actually in Cabo when he was doing it, when we were doing the call.
Wow. Okay. Sick. So basically, the takeaway here is we, right, as the business owners for right now, at least, until we have someone else doing this at a scale that makes sense. And by the way, when it makes sense for you to get off these, only get off these yourself if you're doing more than 30 plus per month, right? Because what's one of the highest ROI activities we can do as business owners? If our backend offers 24K for the year or 30K for the year, or let's say 15K for another whatever, right? That's another 15 to potentially 30K per day that you could be making for your business if you're the one doing those calls. And so that's a high ROI activity, as we know, like sales is one of the highest ROI activities we can do. And so the backend calls should be done by you first until you have at least 30 plus per month, which means to even be able to get to this point, you got to already probably be doing 100K plus per month, obviously, and you got to have a lot of units going through every single month. And so it makes sense for you to do them. Now, the takeaway here is not just to have a backend offer, but to make sure that you make the call framed as like, okay, if you have CSMs or fulfillment managers, right? You have them tell their client, okay, hey, by the way, we're a few weeks away from the program. Let's hop on a one-on-one call with Brian to talk about obviously, how we can continue working with you further and faster, right? And then you get on a one-on-one call. Make it a one-on-one call. Don't call it a next steps call, strategic check-in call. Like people know in our industry, people kind of know what's going to happen, and we're going to try to offer them something, but you want to make it as less, I guess, cringy as possible. And so the big takeaway here for me was like, okay, one of my biggest things I need to be doing is like, okay, hopping on these one-on-one calls with the hybrid clients because, ultimately it's like, I can't expect Charlie or Nick or anybody else to do those when it's like, I'm probably the best person to sell it anyways, to see how I can help them customize a strategy to get to their next level with us in the future. And so with that, all right, with that, the back end is going to be key for the ultimate level of scale. And so this just was a huge reminder for me to be able to step up again as the leader and say, okay, let me do these until we're at a point where now I have a measure here. Okay, once I'm at 30 plus of these per month, then I can get off of these. And this is a big, big takeaway for me that most people, and no one's ever really talked to me about. Now, on top of that, right, crafting, okay, crafting a solid backend offer. How do you craft a solid backend offer? All right. Now, what should you offer on the backend? Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make, and I actually have a picture of this. Let me see if I can find it real quick before I go into this, is, okay, here we go. So let me pull this up here and put this in the notes. All right. So one of the biggest mistakes that most of us make when it comes to crafting a backend offer, and I'll zoom in on here. Okay, so what most people think a backend offer should be is the front end offer is a promise. Okay, you go from A to B, right? You go from you go from $0 a month in business revenue to 10K a month, right? Let's say you're selling an agency offer, how to build a YouTube ads agency and get to 10K a month. Okay, great. That's the front end offer, and you charge, let's say, $6,000 for that. That's the front end promise, right? 0 to 10K a month. Now, the back end, what most people try to do is, okay, here's how to go from 10K a month to 50K a month. Okay, you got to 10K a month. Now the back end is going to be getting to 50K a month, right? That's what most people think about. They have a straight line of like a clear customer journey and ascension. Now, what actually happens is the problem with this is, out of the, let's say 100 people, 100% of people that come through your front end from A to B to get from 0 to 10K a month, right? Let's say only 15%, okay, 15% like actually like just stay at 0. They just don't get any results. They don't take any action. They don't do any work. They don't get any clients, right? But let's say 35% of them in the orange over here, they get one client. Okay, that's huge. They get one client. That's still a huge win for them, right? Getting one client from 0, that's huge. 35% of people. Let's say the other 35% get 2 to 4 clients, right? So they don't necessarily get to 10K a month, but they get 2 to 4 clients, another huge win. That's a majority of the people in the program. And then let's say only 15%, okay, only 15% get to 10K a month, which is the actual promise of the front end. So the problem with this is with this model, this becomes the only segment you try to upsell because you're like, okay, if they got to 10K a month, then only 15% of people are ready for the back end, which is just simply not true. Okay, because number one, right, you upsell only these people because your backend messaging is how to go from 10 to 50K a month, which means you can only really target these people. And all these people that aren't at 10K a month, they're like, well, I'm not going to join the backend because, or I don't qualify, or they're already selling themselves out of not joining because they don't hit this criteria. Therefore, they're disqualifying themselves, and you're disqualifying them from joining the backend simply because they haven't achieved the front end promise. And so number two, you only consider these clients as successful when these clients are definitely successful because they've gotten one client, 2 to 3, maybe even 4 clients. And so you disqualify a bunch of these people. Now, what does this mean for you, and how do you craft a solid backend offer? And so I believe I have another slide of this, but if I don't, long story short is you want to be able to change it into a different style of like a offer. So for example, the biggest mistake that most people make is they try to make it like a congruent journey. Now, what you should do instead is you should still sell all of those people in the 35% over here, 1 client and 2 to 4 clients, but you customize their journey specifically on the back end. And you want to make it more about the community, the one-to-one access to you and your team, plus in-person events, right? There's going to be a bunch of these people that are still going to want to join the backend simply to, obviously continue working with you, given that you can add these things, right? Community, one-to-one access to you and your team, in-person events, right? And then like ongoing coaching and consulting. So think about this when you're crafting your backend, because when I was thinking about this for us, I'm like, okay, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like we have to always offer the agency or we have to always offer, for whatever, X, Y, and Z. We could just simply talk about how we can help them go further and faster. Also give them access to these in-person events, give them access to a Slack channel with me and my team, right? Give them continued access to the community, right? And these trainings that I do one-on-one with them, where I'm sharing these notes from, masterminds that I pay $70,000 per year to be a part of, right? So it's like, that's still valuable. And it's still something that these people would want to be a part of potentially because they still got results. And so the big takeaway here is your back-end offer doesn't have to be a clear ascension from the front end promise. So if you're offering something like a 0 to 10K a month promise on your front end, you don't necessarily, and you really shouldn't make the back end be from 10K to 50K, because it should be very more holistic and very much more about the community, the one-on-one access to you and your team, and the in-person events, which is more fun. Okay. So like Cole's back end, for example, 8-figure boardroom. Sure, yeah, it's about, maybe scaling to 100 to a million a month, but there's a lot of people in there that just join for the network and the community and the in-person events to learn, right? There's a lot of people in there that will just never hit a million a month. Like out of his back end, only 50% of people are actually at a million a month. The rest of the market, like I'm in this case, for example, like we're still getting great results. We're still getting good value from it, but it doesn't mean that I'm never going to, continue paying for it because I just haven't hit a, it's like, it's just a different offer. And so how can you create a back-end offer that still gives them community, one-on-one access to you and your team, plus in-person events? And how can you continue to sell these people? Because I guarantee you, if you offer the person that has one client, the back end, they'd probably more than likely take it. And you'd probably get a lot more people to take it because they got results from your program. Whereas these people, obviously, they're probably never going to buy because they didn't get any results. These people as well. So does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot. Would you customize the backend offer like based on the call you have with them, or would you have like set pre-offers done and like just offer one the whole time? Because it makes sense. Like if they say, listen, I just want maybe 3 calls a month, and I just need you to. Would you customize like that on a call, or you just have like a set backend offer?
Customize it on the call. So that's what I've learned, right? Like with the CSM team for Cole, right? Like they're incentivized on cash, and so they'll customize the offer based off what the client needs. So for example, we had Sam, you met him in person. Michael, you did too when you guys were at the event this past time in Arizona. We had Jesse, right? He was doing about 500K a month as a trader, and he came as like a sit-in. He just paid for a ticket to just sit on the mastermind that weekend. He got so much value that he's like, dude, like I'm gonna be launching my YouTube ads. Obviously, I would love your guys' help. Like, I don't know if I necessarily need the mastermind. Like, can I hop on a call with you and talk about it? I was like, yeah, of course. So what did he need? He just really needed some extra coaching and consulting on like the best practices to get set up and running quickly, and then have us in his corner, plus be able to attend events in the future to continue learning. And so I customized the deal for him to join the backend mastermind, but I also gave him some elements of the one-to-one as well for the price of the mastermind and what it is now. And so I customized it based off of what he needed. And so, yeah, it's always a sale and it's a discovery call. That's why, again, for the back end offer, it makes sense for us right now until we're doing 30 plus per month to get on the calls yourself and see what they need. Because then you can add those elements to the back end to make it sticky, right?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I literally had a call just before this one with someone who's like in the program, but needs a bit more assistance, needs more help, wants to actually pay for me to actually help him run his ads separately. I'm like, okay. I'm like, at this point, I didn't want the hassle of,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what to offer him because I didn't have it pre-made. So I'm like, okay, I can just do it on the go and just come up with something just specifically for what he's looking for. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah. The common belief here that we need to break is your back end offer should solve the future problem. That's what everyone says, right? Solve the next problem, solve the next problem. And of course, that is true to some extent, but it doesn't have to always solve the next problem, right? Some people might just want to continue getting access to you.
Yeah,
And
that's it. Yeah. He just wanted like mindset training and wanted to get out of a rut he was in, and he like wanted to be around. I'm like, oh, listen, I didn't want to end up being an agency again because I've fallen for that trap so many times. Like, okay, we'll do it. You end up like becoming a done for you agency, which is one thing I don't want to do. So I think what you're saying is really hitting home because I can actually just customize. Like, yeah, you'll have 2 calls a week with me. This will be the price. You'll have access to the community and the training anyway. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you charge, whatever you want to charge for that, you feel comfortable that your time's worth. And then he gets what he wants, more access to you, more coaching, consulting, and continuation. And then your LTV goes up. And then you sell, 2 or 3 of those per month. That's an extra, basically 2 or 3 front ends, but a little bit
Without
more.
running any ads. Exactly. So that makes sense.
And that's the name of the game. That's the key, right? Most people live and die by their front end offer. And of course, that's, that can work. But nowadays, where everyone, you just got to have the back end. And so, yeah, customize it, get on the calls with them, and then again, after you have a certain amount of people going through it, you'll realize what the majority of the market in your current segment wants next. And then you can obviously have that be implemented as well. So yeah, 100%. Any other questions on that before I go to the next part, which is going to be pretty key for like companies that sell B2C, which is and even just ads in general. But anything on backend, Brandon, was that helpful for you?
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I'm taking notes here. So yeah,
Cool.
awesome, man. Yep.
All right. So one of the biggest problems right now in the ad space, especially, is for like B2C offers right now. A lot of people are getting crushed, especially with YouTube ads, simply because the lead quality, right? Like everyone's complaining about lead quality, lead quality, lead quality. Now, what's interesting is what Cole did. So if you guys don't know, Cole had an offer called Remote Closing Academy. It was teaching everyday people how to basically become high ticket closers, right? And work remotely and take calls from their own home, yada, yada, yada. And, 4 years ago, that was a brand new opportunity. It was like, I've never heard of remote closing, unique mechanism, unique methodology. And that's why he was able to scale up that offer so quickly. The problem was everybody and their mom now sells, how to become a high ticket closer. And we talk to at least 2 or 3 of them every single week right now, like as we speak. Like I'm getting at least 3 or 4 applications, 2 or 3 applications per week with people that sell sales training and coaching. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean it doesn't sell. People still are going to buy that. It just means the competition's so high. And so what he had to do was his lead quality just went through the roof, like in a bad way. He had to change. So really what happens is for B2C, right? You have 2 options. If your lead quality is just really, really shitty and you're just getting, saturated with a bunch of unqualified leads. And this can apply for B2B as well. Number 1, you got to change the problem you're solving. Okay. So number 1, you got to change like, okay, instead of teaching people how to solve like make money online with sales, I got to change it with like maybe media buying, for example. Or you got to change the problem you're solving. Or number 2 is change who you're solving it for. Okay. So what does that mean? Change the problem you're solving or change who you're solving it for. And so here's what an example of that looks like. So a couple examples, right? B2C, right? Especially make money. Lead quality on Facebook and on YouTube has been in the gutter, right? So we experienced this with RCA. This is what he was saying. So he was leading before with learn a new skill, right? Which is very broad, right? Learn how to become a remote closer. It was a biz opportunity, right? He then pivoted before he shut this offer down to how to take your sales career to the next level, right? Which made his market more narrow, made it more of a career opportunity versus a business opportunity. And he called this adding a floor to your market. Okay, adding a floor to your market. Now, why does this work? All right. Well, this works because what you're doing essentially is you're able to target a specific section of the market who needs help with sales. Okay. But it's not broad. It's no longer broad enough to where you're targeting anybody and everybody who wants to learn a new skill. Therefore, your lead quality is shitty. It's targeting a specific segment of people who already are in sales and they want to go to the next level. Obvious, right? But this is one way for you and for us to be able to essentially target a different segment of the market, outcompete and outspend the competition, and get way higher quality leads. So another example of this would be, for example, let me just pull this up here, put this to this real quick, lead quality, boom, adding a floor. Now let me put this indent here and show you what this looks like. So another examples, right? Another example would be make money in IT, right? For anybody who wants to become an IT professional, right? Well, instead of doing that, which is a business opportunity, you would want to change it to, for example, new opportunity for IT professionals, right? Different segment, adding a floor, right? Same offer, but a different market. Lead quality goes higher in a good way now because you're talking to the target market you want, which is new opportunity for specific people, for IT professionals. If you're not an IT professional, you're probably not going to click on that because you don't qualify as someone who would be interested in a new opportunity. If you want to make money in IT, obviously that's a way broader segment of the market. You're going to run into lead quality issues. Now that can work, but this is how you can obviously address this for B2C. Another example would be, for example, need setters. Let's go to B2C now. Need setters, right? This is B2B. And he did this and it was now need sales managers. Okay. So you see this? One segment of the market needs setters. That was STA for him for the longest time. Now he switched it to like need sales managers, right? There's only a floor of the market that would really actually need a sales manager. If you click on that ad, you probably already likely have a sales team. One closer, maybe two closers, maybe one setter, maybe two setters, and you're probably the sales manager yourself, right? It's a different pocket of the market, which improves the lead quality because you're talking to a very sophisticated quality lead. Another example would be, I wrote this down for ourselves, right? So like what we're, in the past, we talk about is like need leads, right? Or like, need more leads, or for example, need better quality, need more calls, right? This would be another one, need more calls, right? This is what majority of the market's doing. Or like, for example, need more clients. Everyone's doing this right now, like we just talked about. Well, I wrote down, what if we did this? Need better ads, right? Or need media buyers, right? Because these two will immediately get my ads in front of people who already run ads or need media buyers. For example, people that already run ads and they are running the ads themselves. Better quality lead. Everyone and their mom wants more clients and wants more leads. Every business, 0 to 10K a month, 10 to 30K a month, 100K plus per month. But only a specific floor, a segment of the market are going to respond to need better ads. Probably someone who's already running ads, or if they need a media buyer, right? The person who knows they need a media buyer is someone who already is running ads, realistically. Therefore, the lead quality will go up. And so this gave me those two ideas here. And so for you, start thinking about this, okay? If you're experiencing lead quality issues, right? Especially if you're B2C, start thinking about how you can add a floor to your market, right? Need sales managers, new opportunity for specifically IT professionals. Or another example would be, let me just show you this one, right? So like, this would be like, become a copywriter. This is one of our clients before. Her offer, Sarah Turner, become a copywriter. She was teaching everyday people how to become a copywriter, make money from, copywriting, etc. Well, then she switched it to double your income as a writer, right? Very specific. Now you're talking to writers because writers don't make much money. But if you're a writer and you want to double your income, here's better quality leads, right? Become a copywriter, biz op, double your income as a copywriter, more of like a career op, right? Any questions on this?
No, man, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. It's just like targeting just to your content and through the actual ad itself, I imagine. So it's
Yes.
making sense.
Yeah. And so now you can combine what we just talked about earlier, which is indirect, right? Indirect lead, then to a direct offer, right? With these types of floors, right? Because this is where most people have the hardest time with scaling their ads, is their quality, right? But for example, they just don't talk to the right specific type of person. And this is one thing that I took away because I'm like, okay, yeah, we're leading with need more clients, need more calls, need more leads. Immediately, I'm testing out now, need better ads or need media buyers. And one of the biggest realizations I had, like, again, transparently with you guys, is like, because like you guys know me, right? Like if I have something that's working, I'm going to share it with you because that's just how the universe works. If I share it with you, you get results, karma, whatever you want to call it, comes back and we all win together, right? And so one of the biggest realizations I had was like, okay, we're not really selling YouTube ads. Like, yes, that's the unique mechanism, but what we're actually doing is helping clients create video ads that convert into more leads. And so if it's not really YouTube ad specific, it can be for Facebook and YouTube as well, but it's like most people just don't have video ads or direct response marketing or direct response video ads. So that's really what we're selling here. It's a little bit more broad. So if I lead with that, it'll attract a broader audience. The lead quality might be less specific to coaches and course creators. But if I can combine these elements with, the David Ogilvy, create ads that last decades and don't fatigue, right? Indirect. Then I combine it with, and if you're a coach, course creator, or agency owner, and you need help creating high converting ads that last years and not without fatigue, then boom, my team and I will boom, 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 boom. So now I'm combining all these elements into one monster of a campaign that can allow me to truly scale because I'm hitting all of those elements that I'm sharing with you right now immediately into the marketplace where everyone else is doing opposite of what I just said. And so think about this heading into the weekend with your own campaigns and how you can combine these elements for you specifically. Now, Any questions before I keep going? Because the last 10 minutes I want to spend on the actual creative testing process.
All good, man.
Cool. All right, so change the problem here, solving it for, examples there, okay? So now creative output. The biggest problem, and this is exactly what I told Cole when he first came to me for consulting on his YouTube ads. Cole had one monster ad. He only had about like 3 or 4 ads total in his YouTube ads campaigns. And I was like, bro, you only have 5 ads or 4 ads. And like, you need to be testing way more creatives because of how much you're spending. And of course, right, with our hybrid offer, what we're doing is we're helping clients create their first 5 ads, right? We're giving them that shortcut. But the problem is, right, they're never going to just like what happens is if you're below 2K a day in spend, testing more, angles isn't really that important, but obviously you still should. And so the number one common theme between all consulting calls with ads that they have as well in their program is like they're testing 0 to 5 ads per month, or they only have 0 to 5 ads in their ad account, and they're trying to out media buy their way to success. Okay. At scale, the creative velocity needs to dramatically go up. So how do you do that, right? Well, their KPI, and again, they're spending 11K a day. So just keep that in mind, right? And I'll give you parameters on what you should focus on in a second, because they gave a good screenshot that I'm going to share with you. And we're revamping our YouTube ads training right now as we speak to accommodate for like what we've learned over the past 6 months with our ads, with our clients and everything too. So that'll be updated in the academy soon. Their KPI is 20 new creatives per month per offer. Okay. So this will produce around 640 possible unique variations. So here's how they do it, right? They write 20 ads. You or copywriter, if they have controls, right? A control means a winning ad. So the control for us would be like the David Ogilvy ad. They would film 20, okay, of those ads, right? And they would create 4 different headlines and banners. So a headline or a banner would be like in the ad, it has like a site, like it has like it's edited to where it says like 4 coaches and course creators on the ad the entire time. It's like a banner, And so they have 4 different banners and they add 2 first line variations. So like, indirect hook or like a direct hook, for example, would be like 2 different variations. That allows them to have a total of 640 variations. It's a lot of fucking tests per week, obviously, right? And you guys don't have to be overwhelmed with this. Like most of you probably wouldn't need to do that many. But if you just started with at least testing a consistent 5 new ads per month right now, you would probably be a lot better of a position than you are right now, including, everybody who's just spending at least maybe even a couple $100 a day. Now, for winning tests, they'll take the variations that got the most spend, the variations that got no spend, and test both as standalone new creatives or new direct controls without the winners. Okay, so if you struggle to write ads, a good book to read would be Great Leads, and you can jot down ad ideas as you do. So this is what Cole does. He actually said he does this like pretty much every month when he wants to test new ads for himself. He'll just read a good copywriting book. For him, it's like Great Leads. He'll read Great Leads. He'll learn something that's applicable to him right now, or an insight will take off. Then he'll write down ad ideas. Another good one would be like AdSpy. AdSpy is a tool you can go on. I'm sure, Michael, you probably heard about it as well because you're in the market for direct response health and supplements. And they are really good to study because they're companies like V-Shreds, for example. They test hundreds of new ads per month, like hundreds. So don't really, worry about like the copy necessarily, but just look at how many ads they're testing and how many variations they're creating. And so not only that, once you have those ads, how do you test them properly? And this is exactly what we're revamping our course content with as well. So the 3 major rules that they say is like in order of importance: spend. When you test a new ad, you have to spend at least 3 to 5 times your target KPI. So for us, we're obviously booking calls. So if you want to book a call for, let's say, $250 per day or $250 per call, you got to spend at least, $750 to $1,000 on that one single ad before you realize it's like just not a winner. And so you want to run it for at least 4+ days. They're very aggressive with it, right? 4+ days of that kind of spend. And then you want to try to optimize for at least 30 to 50 conversion per week. So for example, like, leads and calls. All right. And then, for example, lead cost is $100. Cost per book call is $300. I'm optimizing for leads. How I calculate 30 conversions per week is 100, right? 30 times 100 is $3,000 in weekly spend. That's $428 a day. $428 a day times 4 days equals $1,712 spent, okay, per day. His KPI is 3 to 5 times his target CPA, which is about 800 to 1500. So this is perfect. So you can see they're very aggressive with testing, right? But that's how they find winners fast. And this is what the biggest companies in our space are doing. So obviously you're not going to start there right away, but this is what you would most likely need to do, especially as you're spending 11K a day, right? And so long story short, you know, after you've tested them, what to expect. You only cut by day 3 if it's atrocious performance. Let's say you spent, you know, $750 already on day 3 and you've gotten, you know, $500 cost per leads. Cut that immediately, right? But the real judgment day, and this is what we say in our course as well. I even told Cole this too. We give it at least 4 to 7 days. Right? We don't really touch anything because if it's trending well, we keep it. If it's iffy, we keep it for, you know, at least 1 to 2 more days. If it's bad, we cut it. But in general, if it's way out of KPI, right, it's never going to optimize back down. But if it's only like 1.3 to 1.5x higher than, you know, what they want, they'll give it a few more days. And so the big takeaway here is like this media buying stuff, you guys can hop on the calls with us. We can talk about this more. The big takeaway here is how many new creatives you're testing, right? And what I just went over in the hour we've had here is how to create better indirect with direct offer ads to separate yourself in a noisy marketplace, and also how to add a strong backend to your front end offer to make your LTV higher, plus how to improve your lead quality by adding a floor to your offer by being more specific to who you're talking to and talking to that person specifically. So instead of salespeople, right, it's maybe door-to-door salespeople. Right, one of our clients, Garrett Campbell, who got the best results with the hybrid offer, who's never ran YouTube ads before and was struggling with Facebook ads, got a 4.73x return on ad spend using the hybrid offer because we helped him target specifically door-to-door sales professionals, right? Adding a floor to his offer. And so the same things that you can do here for your ads, and then when you combine those principles with the understanding of how to test new creatives, right? This is going to allow you to truly be able to become an admin, right? Which is what we call inside the admin mastermind. And last but not least, I thought I had another picture here. I thought I did. Maybe it didn't load properly. And one thing I would encourage you guys to do as well is create a system inside of your Asana, like whether you use Asana or you use ClickUp or you use, you know, Monday or whatever the case may be, you want to create a creative testing system. So here's what we use, right? In ClickUp, we have this. We have a board that has ideas. Okay, so this is one thing every one of us should be doing, right? You have an ideas board, a column here with ideas of ads that you get from when you're reading great leads, or when maybe you watch this training or you rewatch it again tomorrow and you're like, I got an idea for an ad because Brian shared this thing and I got an idea. Put it on this ideas board. Once you like the idea and you're like, I'm excited about the one, I feel good about that one, you move it to be tested, okay? To be tested. Once it's to be tested, okay, then you put it to needs review. This is after you've written the copy, right? You film the ad and it's ready to go, right? When you've got to review it. Then currently testing. You move it to currently testing, okay? If you're currently testing this as an ad, you put it there. If it's currently running, you put it in the currently running column, right? And then if it's a failed test, you put it in failed tests, which I just gave you the parameters to know if it's a failed test. And then if it stopped working, meaning it was running before, but it stopped working, you put it here. And then the stopped working column can allow you to find new ad ideas to allow you to, again, retest new ad angles, variations, etc. So I would highly recommend every single one of you create a board like this to implement a creative testing system for yourself. This is what, for example, Costa, who's a client of ours inside the hybrid offer, he was spending $1,000 a day on YouTube ads, okay? He came to work with us because he couldn't scale past $1,000 a day without his campaigns breaking. His CPAs would go through the roof. His cost per book calls would go through the roof. And the reality was he only had 7 ads running. And I told him, you need to implement a creative strategy and testing system. So the first thing I did was I showed him this system, okay? And I told him, you need to be testing at least 5 new ads per month, just like Cole recommended this past weekend. As a result, he started implementing this. Now he's successfully spending $3K a day on YouTube. He's tripled his ad spend, right, in less than 90 days. He's lowered his cost per book call and he's improved his lead quality. Why? Because he's implemented this creative testing system. And that's exactly when and why creatives are one of the easiest ways to scale your ads, your offer, and your business, because it's not the media buying necessarily. Of course, you need to have someone manage the media buying for you at a certain point, whether it's yourself or somebody else, to help you with that. But the creative testing is where you're going to really make the most money as a business owner for yourself. So I would implement this on Monday, on Asana, whatever you guys use. Ideas to be tested, needs review, currently testing, currently running, failed test, stop working. Organize this for yourself. Put all your ads in here and where they're at in your current ad campaign. And then every single month, start testing new things.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. A lot of work to get to.
100%, 100%. Last and final thing, again, as CSMs, right? If you're doing it for yourself and filling on for your clients, the biggest mindset shift I had personally this past weekend, run your CSM team like yourself as a sales team. What projections do you have? How many referrals are you going to get this month? How many testimonials are you going to get this month? How many upsells and ascensions are you going to get this month, right? Like start KPIing yourself on that and your team on that and run it like a sales team. That's the only reason why Cole's been able to last so long, because he has that strong backend and he treats his CSM team like a sales team so they can add more profitability to their clients.
Makes a lot of sense, man.
Cool.
A lot of sense. Cool.
Sweet, boys. Any other questions for me before I run?
Nah, man, that's it. All good for me. Nice catching up, and see you next week, man. Have a good day.
I'll see you guys
Yeah,
soon.
see you, Brian. Have a great day, man.
Later, boys. Peace.